early. I got these loaded before daybreak. Just got them moved into the new yard. I think they will do quite well here. Early morning sun. Should be full day sun. I was careful about the shade line from this tree. So they should have full day sun until late in the afternoon. Need to get back out here and feed them and box all of them. Some of them are really heavy, which means they probably caught a little drift and they've been benefiting from the flow and will need a box. Some of them are pretty small and light, so they need feed. But I'll get back out here today. May do it this morning. I've got some honey to deliver and other things to get done, so may go ahead and do that right now. I need to make another tank of syrup and get a bunch of frames put in boxes and get back out here. So I got this yard filled out and I'm going through feeding and boxing. You can see I made this nuke with 4 frames on 4/7. That's when I dropped the cell. And today's May the 2nd, and they're working all the way to the outside here. So I'm just in time. Probably could have made it a little bit longer, but not much. So the way that I handle these nukes is I'll just put a box on top with 10 frames, and I won't move the feeder up until they've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 frames drawn in this top box. And I'll actually take those drawn frames and fill this bottom box out completely. If there are any frames that are only partially drawn, I'll move them to the inside and put drawn frames on the outside. That way I know when I move the feeder up to the top box that the box underneath that is completely drawn out. I don't have to do anything else to it, checkerboarding or anything, it's done. That's the difference in bee power. Nukes made the same day with 3 frames versus the 4-framer that you just saw. This would have been 2 frames of brood, 1 frame of food. The other would have been 3 frames of brood, 1 frame of food. This one may not make honey in June. Some of these others will. There's another 4-frame split. And again, they're working wall to wall in here. They would have to have a box within a week. It's really a big difference. I'll be really glad when my business is not living hand to mouth anymore. What I mean by that is you're supposed to get your beekeeping equipment over winter and work on it and get it in shape and then have everything ready to go, stacked and ready for bee season. When the flow hits, you've got all of the frames and boxes and everything you're gonna need. Well, I bought all the beekeeping equipment I could afford over winter, not everything I was going to need. And you sell some honey, get some invoices in and get a little bit more money. You buy more stuff, you get some more invoices in, you begin to get a little ahead and feel better. And then we hit a flow and my nukes are growing and all of a sudden I'm running out of boxes and frames. So I'm going to buy 200 boxes. They're $13.50 a piece, and I ordered 2,000 frames from Acorn. Got their medium plastic frames with heavy wax. I think with freight that the price was like $1.97 each on 2,000 of them. And then I ran out of my big glass honey bottles and had to order 2,000 of those, or $2,000 worth of those. So like I say, it's just living hand to mouth. Money comes in, money goes out. Money comes in, money goes out. I did just close on an operating line of credit, which is good, but scary as well. I was a farm loan officer for 8 years, and that made me pretty debt averse because I saw some bad situations. People got themselves into trouble, and I learned that when you're in a hole, you should stop digging. If you just stop digging, things are going to be better than if you can't use debt to get yourself out of a hole. So got to be careful with that, but it is going to give me a little bit of breathing room to get some things that I have just absolutely got to have. I don't have enough storage for the honey crop I'm going to have this year. I've got to have another shipping container like now, before the honey harvest. I'm moving to drums, so I need plumbing to get a honey pump and everything put together just so the system will work. And it's just, it's $500 worth of fittings and hose, and it's endless, hand to mouth. This first round of nukes got moved a week ago, and they got a gallon of feed, and they got a box put on them, and they are already working 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames in this upper box. So I'll give them another gallon of feed here. They are hitting 5 weeks from the time I made them up this week. I think it'll be Saturday. Today is Wednesday. So they will have brood emerging from the new queen, and they'll grow very quickly from here. So within a week, I'll probably plan on being back out here with an excluder and another box, and I'll bait them up into a box of foundation by moving a couple of frames that are drawn but don't have any stored syrup in them. Move those into the middle of the top box and try to bait them through the excluder and see if I can't get them to make some honey. So it's May 3rd. Black locust looks like the bloom is aging pretty quickly. It starts turning sort of a golden brown white color as it gets old. It looks kind of soggy. So I'd say that's about over. Tulip poplar is still going pretty good. I'd say we've got 1 to 2 weeks left on that. The trees don't all bloom at the same time, thankfully. It spreads it out just a little bit. Some are early and some are a little later. So we get about 3 weeks or so of pretty decent flow off of that. American holly started 2 or 3 days ago, and privet has started blooming this week. So put all of that together, and I'd say that we've got 1 to 2 more weeks of pretty good flow, and then it's going to start slowing down quite a bit. So by pretty good flow, I mean drawing foundations. Flow strong enough that the bees will draw foundations. They're actively gaining weight, making a honey crop, surplus honey. So I got through all of my hives last week, almost exactly 7 days ago, and found quite a few swarm cells. Maybe 10, 12 hives had some cells in them. So I got those split down, and that's got me worried about swarming. So I would love to do the same thing this week and go through all of my production colonies, go down 2 or 3 boxes and just see if they've got any cells going on, and then I can pull them back. But it just stopped raining while I was bottling honey within the last hour, and it was raining this morning, and we have thunderstorms coming in this afternoon. And I checked the 2-week forecast, and we've got more than a 30% chance of rain every day in the next 14 days. So, and we've got strong storms coming in this weekend. So I don't have time to get through all of my hives and do a thorough inspection today. I just don't have the time. All I'm gonna do is pop tops, and any hives that are working across 6 frames or so in the top, drawing foundation, putting in honey, I'm gonna put a box on them, and hopefully I can get done with all my production colonies in the 4 or 5 hours that I've got to get this done. So I gotta get cracking. It's a perfect example. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're working on 6 foundations, drawing those out. So I'll drop a box on them, pull them bait frame up, and rock on. It's good to see they're already getting that capped. Beautiful stuff. This is the queen I selected as my first round queen mother in grafting. She's drawing this foundation box side to side, wall to wall. They've got to have a box today. I under-supered this hive to give them a sense of void because they already had a pretty full honey super up here with drone brood and stuff. Getting some queen cups in. Appears to have worked. They are drawing 7 or 8 of those, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a box too. If they want to draw it, they can. It's easier to keep them working than it is to start them working. If they're drawing foundation, it's easier to keep them drawing foundation than it is to get them to restart. So as everybody knows, bees don't draw the outer frames as well as they draw the inner frames. They like to move up. They like to move up before they move out, and they don't do as good a job drawing all the way to the edges unless they're on a really big flow. So since this is now going to be the 3rd super down, and we've got a full super on top of it, and I'm putting one on top of that, I went ahead and pulled the outer 4 frames, moved them to the middle, and took completely drawn frames, 2 on the outside on each side. So now they should completely draw this box out, and I won't have to look at it again until harvest. You know, there are not a whole lot of things more rewarding than opening up a hive and seeing a full box of honey with new wax. That's awesome. I love it. So my queen has been up here in this first honey super. She's got that laid up with eggs, and we got brood in the next frame, probably the middle 4 to 6. We'll have brood in them. That will naturally regress down as the honey comes in, but if she doesn't move down, this would be an excellent time to shake every bee out of this super and put an excluder on, and then I know the queen is below. All this brood will age out over the next month, and when I harvest it, it's nothing but honey. But what I'll probably do is deal with this in my first honey pool in May and shake it down then, and then pull any boxes that have had brood in them in June, even July. It's just easier for me to do that as a part of a honey harvest instead of, okay, I've got 4 hours to get my supers on today, or I'm going to have hives swarming next week. You know, I just don't have the time to do this right now. So I don't think I got this on video, but last week I had a swarm issue from one of these production colonies laying in this tree, and I caught it. Put them in a double medium, and they have completely drawn out the whole blame thing in a week. So they're getting a box too. Goodness. Rain, rain, go away. Come again a different day. I didn't want to take my normal route out of here because I didn't think I could pull that hill with it this wet. So I tried to circle around, but I'm on the downhill side of this roof line, and I thought this had been packed with rock, but it hasn't. It's just mud. I had to unhook from the trailer. Don't know exactly how I'm gonna get that out of there. Fun stuff. Gotta love beekeeping. It's not the beekeeping that's the hassle, it's all the stuff around it. Soaking wet. Just picked the boxes off of the trailer and stuck them in the truck. I was able to get the truck unstuck when I unhooked from the trailer, but now I can't get the trailer out. So I just left it, and that's gonna probably mean 2 trips back over there with the tractor, because I can put a receiver hitch on the tractor. I've got an attachment for that. I can go get the trailer, no problem. It's just a 4 or 5 mile drive on a tractor to get over there. It takes a while. And then I've got to wait for it to dry out so I can take the box blade back over there and blade those ruts out. I'm not gonna leave a man's field like that. It's aggravating. I should have took the high side of the barn, but they've got other equipment parked over there, and I didn't want to rut up the better part of the field. I thought there would be packed rock on that lower side, but it's not. It's 6 inches of mud. knew it would be wet because you've got the drip line from the roof, but I thought there would be rock or chert or something, but it's not. It's just bottomless mud. So at least I tore up a part of the field that doesn't grow anything. So I guess that's not a complete loss. I don't know if you can see the bloom behind the trees there, but that's on the river bluff. That is mountain laurel. It's the awfulest tasting honey you've ever had in your mouth. It's awful. Hopefully there's enough else going on that the bees aren't working that. Whew. It's been a long day, even though it's just 4 or 5 hours. Frustrating day. Bees are very stingy today. Goodness. Trying to eat me up. Got the truck stuck. Trailer's still stuck. It's just soggy. But we're making honey. I tell you, the flow really kicked on last week. I've got boxes that I under-supered last week to try to... I think if you under-super on a strong colony, you don't need to put a bait frame in. The box of foundation you put on, they've drawn some of these supers out and filled them in a week. So I am now out of boxes of foundation, which means I've got to go put some more frames together. I've got a pallet of frames, but they're unassembled. So I've got a young man from church coming tomorrow to help me, and I'm gonna try to go get some put together right now because there's still one colony in this yard that needs another super, even though I put one on last week. And then I've got one more yard of production colonies that they probably are gonna need boxes too. So I need to get, 60 or 80 or something like that frames put together and head out there before dark. Oh, soaking wet from head to toe. Got some frames knocked together. Got to box some hives. I'll be shocked if this hive doesn't have swarm cells or a plugged out super. My goodness. It's a lot of bees. They're really flying. They're on a flow.